You're responsible for protecting an entire city. Then your phone rings. Reports are coming in from downtown. People are running. Police officers are requesting backup. Ambulances are being dispatched before anyone even knows how many people are injured. Within seconds, the entire city begins responding. Police know where the suspect was last seen. Emergency dispatch knows which ambulances are closest. Hospitals know how many trauma beds are available. Traffic control knows which roads are already blocked. Intelligence agencies begin searching existing reports. Somewhere above, satellites capture fresh images of the area. From the outside, it looks like everyone is working together. But then something strange happens. The police redirect traffic to secure the area. An ambulance arrives late because the road it needed is now closed. The hospital prepares for 10 patients. 20 arrive instead. Traffic control clears one route, unaware another agency has already blocked it. Nobody made a mistake. Every decision made sense. Every organization acted exactly as it was supposed to. And somehow, the response becomes slower. Not because people failed, because information did. At first, that doesn't make sense. Modern governments collect more information than ever before. Security cameras watch intersections. Emergency calls arrive every second. Vehicles constantly report their locations. Satellites observe entire regions. Databases store years of records. Computers process millions of events every day. So how can an organization with almost unlimited information still struggle to understand what's happening? Because information isn't the same as understanding. Every organization sees a different part of reality. Police see suspects. Hospitals see patients. Traffic control sees congestion. Emergency dispatch sees resources. Each system is accurate. Each system is useful. Each system is incomplete. And that's the first hidden rule. Large organizations rarely fail because they don't have enough information. They fail because nobody sees the same picture. Most people think the solution is obvious. Just combine everything into one system. Problem solved. But that's where an even bigger problem begins. Most people think the solution is obvious. Just combine everything into one system. One database, one map, one screen. Problem solved. Except, if it were that simple, it would already exist. So the question becomes, why doesn't it? Because the assumption is wrong. Governments were never built as a single system. They are collections of separate organizations, each one responsible for a different part of reality. Police deal with crime. Hospitals deal with patients. Fire departments deal with emergencies. Transportation agencies deal with movement. Power companies deal with electricity. Different responsibilities, different success metrics, different definitions of what matters. So naturally, they build different tools. And over time, those tools don't just differ, they diverge. Different software, different databases, different permissions, different security rules, different legal constraints. Some systems are modern, some were built decades ago. Some were designed to talk to others, most weren't. And some are legally prevented from ever sharing data at all. So even before anything goes wrong, the system is already split. But the deeper problem isn't technical, it's interpretive. Take a single event, a traffic accident in a city. To a police department, it might be a crime scene. To a hospital, it's incoming trauma patients. To traffic control, it's a blocked intersection. To a utility company, it's possible infrastructure damage. Same event, different meanings. Not because anyone is wrong, but because none of them are looking for the same thing. Now here's where it compounds. The police reroute traffic, which delays ambulances, which increases pressure on hospitals, which forces emergency diversion, which further disrupts traffic planning. One decision ripples across systems that were never designed to coordinate in real time. And that's just one incident. Now multiply it. Thousands of events, thousands of decisions, every minute of every day. Each organization updates its own picture of reality in isolation, but almost nothing updates the shared picture. So reality doesn't stay unified, it fragments. Not because information disappears, but because every system refines its own version of it. The better each organization becomes at understanding its own world, the further it drifts from everyone else's. And that creates the paradox. The more advanced the system becomes, the harder it becomes to see the whole. Because information doesn't naturally converge, it diverges, it separates, it scatters. It splits into incompatible versions of the same reality. So the problem is no longer about collecting information. It's about whether disconnected systems can ever form a single shared understanding of what that information means. So the systems don't talk to each other. That's the first problem. The obvious fix? Collect more information. More cameras, more sensors, more reports. Surely that solves it. It doesn't. Sometimes it makes things worse. Picture 1,000 puzzle pieces dumped on a table. Already hard to see the picture. Now dump 10,000 more on top. You didn't lose anything. You gained pieces. And somehow the picture got harder to find. That's what happens to information at scale. Every day, a city government collects millions of signals. Police reports, satellite images, traffic cameras, emergency calls, GPS pings. Every piece is real. Every piece matters. And none of them, on their own, explain what's actually happening. Because information isn't understanding. Connections are. Take one car. By itself, it means nothing. Then a second camera picks up the same plate. Then an emergency call mentions the same vehicle. Suddenly it's not 3 separate facts. It's one story. That's the difference between data and meaning. An empty hospital bed means nothing until an ambulance is 20 minutes out, until 3 more hospitals report full capacity. Now that empty bed means something completely different. Nothing about the bed changed. The context did. So here's the real problem. It was never about collecting more information. It's about knowing which pieces belong together. Across thousands of databases, thousands of departments, thousands of organizations that were never built to compare notes. The information already exists. What's missing is the thread that connects it. And once you see it that way, this stops being a data problem. It becomes a relationship problem. Which sounds like exactly the kind of problem you'd hand to artificial intelligence, doesn't it? So naturally, that's where everyone's mind goes next. Just let AI figure it out. It reads faces, translates languages, writes essays. Surely it can read a city. It can't, not by itself. Because AI has the exact same limitation we do. It can only work with what it's shown. Hand someone a puzzle with half the pieces missing. Doesn't matter how smart they are, the picture stays broken. Give an AI one police database, and it understands one police database. Give it one hospital system, and it understands that hospital system. For a moment, it even looks like it's working. Patterns start forming. Connections appear. It feels solved. But ask it to understand the whole city, and there's a problem. The city was never stored in one place. It's scattered. One system holds locations, another holds identities, another holds medical records, another holds infrastructure. Each one describes a slice of reality. None of them describe all of it. And that's exactly where it breaks. A route looks optimal until it isn't. A hospital looks available until twice as many patients show up. A response looks coordinated until 2 agencies make opposite decisions at the same time. What looked like one picture was never actually one picture. So the bottleneck isn't intelligence, it's perspective. Every system is solving a different version of the same city, and no single system, human or machine, sees the full one. Which means the real question was never, how do we build a smarter AI? The real question is this: how do you get thousands of disconnected systems to see the same reality? Which sounds less like a technology problem, and more like a problem almost nobody has actually solved. Except one company has spent nearly 20 years trying. Its name is Palantir. Some people call it an AI company. Some call it a data company. Some call it a surveillance company. None of those are exactly wrong. None of them explain what it actually does. Because Palantir isn't trying to replace the tools every organization already has. It's trying to get them to understand each other. Picture every organization setting one puzzle piece on the same table. Police reports, hospital capacity, road closures, emergency dispatch, weather, supply chains. Alone, they're just pieces. Together, they're a picture. And here's the part people miss. Palantir isn't discovering secret information nobody had access to. It's helping organizations see what they already knew, together for the first time. That one shift changes everything downstream. Police stop seeing just a suspect. Now they see how closing that road delays an ambulance 3 miles away. Hospitals stop seeing just an open bed. Now they see exactly how many patients are inbound and how fast. Traffic control stops managing intersections in isolation. Now every decision they make accounts for how it ripples through the rest of the city. Nobody's job changes, nobody's mission changes. What changes is the picture everyone is looking at. For the first time, every decision comes from the same reality. And once that becomes possible, something else becomes possible too. Because once you can see the whole picture, the consequences of seeing it stop being local. They start being global. Which raises a much bigger question. If this kind of visibility is that powerful, why isn't every organization already using it? Turns out, most organizations don't feel this problem the same way. Small ones barely notice it. Large ones can't escape it. Because the bigger the organization, the more expensive bad coordination becomes. Watch a hurricane make landfall, and you'll see it happen in real time. Weather agencies track the storm. Police run evacuations. Hospitals brace for casualties. Power companies watch the grid. Every minute, the situation changes. Not because information is missing, because reality is moving faster than anyone can coordinate around it. Now go somewhere else entirely, a military operation. One team watches satellites, another tracks aircraft, another follows troop movement, another manages supply lines. Each team is excellent at its own job, but individual missions don't win operations. Coordination does. And it doesn't stop at governments or militaries. One supplier misses a shipment, a factory slows down, warehouses start running low, deliveries slip, customers notice. It looks like 5 separate problems. It's one chain reaction. And suddenly, Palantir's client list stops looking random. Governments, hospitals, manufacturers, airlines, energy companies, banks, completely different industries, solving the exact same problem. They're not buying software because they do the same work. They're buying it because they're all asking the same question. What is happening right now, and what do we do next? At scale, that question is worth billions. But that's also exactly where this stops being simple, because the same system that coordinates disaster relief can coordinate a military strike. The same platform that connects hospital records can connect intelligence files. The technology doesn't decide what it's used for. People do. And the moment that kind of visibility exists, the conversation changes. It's no longer about what the software can do. It's about who gets to hold it. Which leads to the real shift. Once decisions stop coming from fragmented views and start coming from one shared picture, competition itself changes shape. Most people assume companies win by building a better product. Sometimes they do, but eventually, something else starts to matter more. Making better decisions, faster than the other guy. Picture 2 emergency response teams. Same people, same equipment, same training. The only difference? One of them understands what's happening 5 minutes sooner. 5 minutes doesn't sound like much. Until it reroutes ambulances before the road closes, restores power before the hospital loses it, moves supplies before the shortage even starts. Nothing about the emergency changed, only how fast they understood it. And that changed everything that came after. The same pattern shows up everywhere you look. A manufacturer that catches a supply problem early avoids the loss entirely. An airline that spots a maintenance risk before boarding prevents the cancellation. A hospital that sees a patient surge coming has the beds ready before it arrives. The advantage was never prediction. It was timing. Understanding the present a little sooner than everyone else. And that's what a company like Palantir is actually selling. Not data, not software, not even the AI. Once you see it clearly, the dashboards disappear. The maps disappear. Even the algorithms fade into the background. They were never the product. They were the interface. The real product is the thing underneath all of it: shared understanding. Thousands of people across hundreds of organizations finally acting from one version of reality instead of competing versions of it. Which is why it's so hard to describe what this company actually does. People expect a software business. What they're really looking at is something quieter than that. A way of deciding who gets to see reality clearly and who doesn't. And whether that makes it one of the most useful systems ever built or one of the most dangerous ones depends entirely on who's holding it. Because in the end, information was never the goal. Understanding was.